Hey, welcome to another episode in our Anime Month series, or Anime Season, as I should say. Today we're going to be taking a look at a new partner of ours. Bandai has sent us some product samples of different characters from anime. We're going to start out with the Dragon Star series. This takes a look at a bunch of characters from Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, and in this case Dragon Ball Super. So we got Frieza 4th form and Beerus. So if you look at the boxes here, you can just see the cartoon on the side, the anime here of Frieza. In the front's going to be a window box, a little shadow version of that cartoon. And then on the back, you're just going to see the characters in that wave, and in this case, it's just Frieza 4th form and Beerus. Same thing if we look at the Beerus box, you get that artwork on the side again, with the character on the front, with a little bit of a shadowed version of him, and then the window box letting you see what's inside. And then just the characters in the back again. So there's only two in this wave, so not a whole lot. Not a lot of divergence between the two. This form of Frieza I like because he's just the cleanest of the Frieza forms. I want to say mutations. The third one always sticks with me just because of the monstrous look, and he goes from getting bigger and bigger to being so just a simple design and less scary, but he's actually scarier because this is his most powerful form. And then you got Beerus, who's one of the most powerful, not the most powerful character in the series, which pairs well with Frieza in this wave. Beerus is the one, after all, who convinced Frieza to destroy the Saiyan planet. So it's nice to have these two together in this wave. But let's take a look at the characters inside the boxes here, and a little bit about their articulation, and what kind of additional features they have. Alright, well, of the two, I want to start with Frieza here. These open really simply. There's just a couple pieces of tape at the top and the sides. So you can, depending on if you want to preserve the box or not, peel off the tape or cut the tape or do a combination of the two of them. Tray just slides out. That's it. You notice the little electric style background in the package there to make the figure pop. But that's it. No tape, which I really appreciate. See, there's nothing to dig out. He's not secured in there by any tabs, so he's just form fitted into plastic, which is great. Easy to just pop the character out. Apologize for that noise, but there's no additional fighting that needs to be done, and that's it. I mean, he just great, easy on the packaging there. These guys have around 16 points of articulation, so you can get a lot out of them in the ankles here, the legs. You can see that double knee joint. So we bring it in closer here. You can see they got really tight paint applications on there, particularly around the chest and on his head. There's no bleed over. That's really great. I think when you do that, it just really helps a character pop, particularly with Frieza. It gives him that anime look. The eyes, the attention to detail there, all the way down to on the face. There's no holes or anything in the bottom for you to attach him to a stand, but I don't think he really needs one. You can see he could stand up pretty easily on his own. It's easy to find the center of gravity on these guys and get them to balance, which is always appreciated on a figure, particularly when they have a tail, which could always be a sort of counterpoint to that center of gravity. But he's easy to find that happy medium. You could even use the tail to your advantage to just prop him up a little bit if you wanted to. So in this case, it helps him, so you can get some more dynamic poses with him without having to fight too much. Outside of that, he comes with a couple alternative hands. So he has some open hands here, just to give you some more agency with using his powers. And then one of my favorite, he has the pointy hand when he uses that little beam. So it's great to have this hand. It's very dynamic, very useful. A lot of his fighting styles, he has this hand technique. So I always like doing the hand test just to see how difficult these are to get. Particularly smaller hands can be quite cumbersome. So I always do a little twist and pull motion, and this came off not too hard. Always worried about ripping the socket joint out of the arm if it's not secured properly. This one seems like it's molded onto the wrist, so there doesn't seem to be an issue where you're going to get it to pull out. So it would just straight up break, but in this case it did not. And then there we go, we have that little finger gun on there easily without too much trouble. So good to know that you could easily put the hands on. Always appreciated when they do that engineering that you don't have to fight with hands. I hate fighting with hands, particularly on a figure that comes with a ton of hands. If you're going to make a figure with a ton of hands, you have to have that hand engineering down, and they Bandai really nailed it here. He could easily do the hand switch. He could stand on his own without too much difficulty here, despite having all these articulation points, even in the hips, where you could pull out the leg a little bit to get a little bit more movement. So great. I mean, I think he's designed really well. He has that great anime look to him, and I think the face and the paint applications really help him pop. And the hands, easy to move around. He doesn't need much else. It'd be nice to have some beam effects. I know some of the figures do, so it depends on which version you're getting of the character. But he looks great nonetheless. So done with taking a look at Frieza. Let's take a look at Beerus here. Same way, this one doesn't have tape at the top like the Frieza one did, so a little bit easier to open. Again, nothing holding him in place here, which is always appreciated. You don't have to fight with tape. It saves on the packaging there. Less waste of plastic. It's just going to be pressure fitted in here. Oh. And I kind of popped his head off unintentionally, but there we go, back on. Great design on him. Again, coming right out off the anime. His default hand here is ready to do that little flick he does to render his enemies and humiliate them and defeat his enemies. So that's kind of cool. They included him at default with that. He's got those really poofy pants, which work to his advantage here. He still has that double jointed knee despite having the poofy pants. You can see up close here a lot of that great detail on the bangles, on the sort of on his I don't know, not tunic, but like little vest at the top here. And then, of course, the little draping tunic at the bottom. Tight paint applications, you know, great attention to detail again in the face there. Really makes him pop in that anime sense. Really easy to find the center of gravity on this guy, much more so than Frieza. So just really tight design on him, so you could still get a lot of moves out of him without having to worry about needing a stand or anything like that. And same with Frieza. Comes with a couple of hand accessories to allow you to do some stopping or some open hand techniques. And then a fist. The default for a lot of characters is a fist. Like I said, in the packaging, they gave him this default hand, which is, you know, preparing to flick hand, just like Frieza has his, you know, finger gun pointing beam hand. So if you wanted to switch him out, we'll do a hand test here, just to give him a fist. And again, easy wrists, easy to change the hands out. And boom, there he goes. He's got his fist. He's ready to fight. So let's check out the cross-body articulation. One of the most difficult things in figures is getting them to cross their arms, because the chest always stops that because there's no give. I've seen it on a lot of the 6 scale, the larger figures. They're able to do that, where there's an additional articulation joint in the chest. But here, he's able to cross his arms here, and you get a nice little blocking pose, because there is that movement in the shoulder that allows him to wrap it around all the way. So you get, although it doesn't come out of the joint, it's still able to cross enough. So that's great, because you see this block a lot in Dragon Ball series. So really glad they incorporated that into the design of the figure. And again, he has those hip joints where you can take him out a little bit to get a little bit more movement and a little bit more posing. They do a lot of martial arts poses, and that requires a lot of deep stances. So really well designed work on the engineering here for the figure. So that's great that they're able to incorporate that. And again, easy to find center of gravity on him, no matter what kind of stance you wanted to do here, which is great because Dragon Ball characters getting themselves into a lot of poses, and you want to be able to do it without having to fuss too much, particularly since there is no leg holes in the bottom, so you're not going to be able to use any kind of aftermarket or third-party stands. So altogether, really well designed. Like this figure. He's got a great look to him, just like out of the show. Same with Frieza here. Great look to him as well. We'll show you a couple of the assortments of the hands here, so you could just get a little bit better sense of what these guys look like when they're counterparts, their accessories. Just showing you that range of motion you can get out of Beerus here. Despite having that tunic at the bottom, he could still achieve these really deep stances. And of course you got those hands, so you get just a lot more expression out of them between the fists and the flick fingers and then the open hands. So you can do an assortment of moves or poses.
Same goes for Frieza here. His center of gravity is a little bit different, but the trick is to use that tail to your advantage, and you can still get him into some really deep stances or some really unique poses with the hands and with the legs and everything. But the tail will help you find that balance. So use it to your advantage. There's a couple articulation points on the bottom and the top of the tail, so you can really get a lot of agency out of it and a lot of movement. Because it will add some weight to the back of the character, so if you're not using it, it's going to be really tough to get him to stand or get into any kind of stance. So that tail is there to help you, so just make sure you use it.
So that's it. I wanted to give you guys a quick look at these guys. These are the reissued versions of these characters, which originally came out in Build-A-Figure lines. So it's a great chance to get these if you missed them the first time around, getting them at retail instead of paying that secondary market price. If they're not available now, they should be available really soon. We'll have some links up for them for you to acquire. These are definitely great if you're a Dragon Ball fan. A lot of articulation, easy to pose them. They look great in your collection or displayed on your desk, whatever your preference is. So we'll be adding them to our holiday gift guide as well. Like I said, keep checking that gift guide for updates and additions. So they should be in there this week. Beyond that, anime season continues. We'll be taking a look at more from Bandai. We'll be taking a look at more from some other providers. I don't want to give you any spoilers, but we have many more anime or anime adjacent characters for you to take a look at. So like, subscribe, and follow, and we will see you guys next time.